Hi, love bugs. I'm back with a book called The Lively Little Rabbit by Ariane, illustrated by Gustav Tangren. This little golden book is a classic, so let's read it. Let's find out about it. Look at the pictures. It's very reminiscent to me of almost a Disney type picture, isn't it? The one with the owl. Do you see it? This cover and the inside is just a little bit different than the rest. It was published in 1971. Here's the back of it. Way back in the woods lived a lively little rabbit. All day long he nibbled leaves and roots and played with his brothers and sisters. Most of the day they would slide down a big hill, and the lively little rabbit was always in the front, the first one to reach the bottom. It's kind of fun to be a line leader, isn't it? To be first in line, first down the hill, first. Although some might say that being last is the best. Those seem to be the two most popular spots in the line. The caboose and line leader. What are your thoughts? Which one do you enjoy? Do you like being line leader or do you like being the caboose? Cabooses always seem to like to be the cabooses, and then the caboose is always way farther back than everybody else. I think there's a system going on there, don't you? All the little rabbits would have had a wonderful time, except for the weasel who lived in a hole in the forest. That old weasel was mean and grumpy and always pushing his sharp nose into everything. Besides, he was always ready to eat little rabbits for breakfast. Oh my goodness. Didn't sound very nice, but Animal Kingdom has its own rules, doesn't it? Animal Kingdom has its own rules. Glad I'm a human. So the lively little rabbit, who didn't want to be eaten for breakfast, was very careful to keep out of the weasel's way. So were his brothers and sisters. Whenever they saw the mean old weasel coming, they jumped quickly into their hole and stayed there until it was safe to come out again. And the lively little rabbit was always the first one down the hole. There he goes again. Always cautious, always paying attention, looking around his surroundings. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. You can always have fun, but you always want to be aware of your surroundings. Looking around, getting an assessment, right? The weasel was a very cunning weasel too. One day, when the lively little rabbit was alone in his hole, the weasel wiggled down into it by the back door. For a minute, the lively little rabbit thought he was going to be eaten for breakfast. Do you think he was shaking in his boots? I would have been shaking in my boots, rattling my teeth. Oh my gosh, I'm so scared like this. I'm so scared. Let me see your scared face. Is it hard to stay quiet? It's kind of hard for me. But he was smart and quick as a flash. He jumped out the front door and began to run as fast as he could. Where do you think he went? Where would you go? Where do you go? I wonder if the three little pigs live around him. Go to that brick house you always hear about. All right, he ran and ran until he came to the end of the forest. There were big hills and roads going up and down, and a little village. What is a village? Do you know what a village is? A town, a community, a city, a neighborhood. Look at the picture. Pictures are wonderful clues as to what is going on in the story and what they're trying to describe, right? The lively little rabbit only wanted his dinner. Oh my, he said, I am so hungry. I could eat 200,000 million big carrots right now. Hungry that you wanted 200,000 million of something? What would I want 200,000 millions of right now? I could do 200,000 millions of steak bites. I could do 200,000 millions of, I hate to say this, but I love it. Gyros. Have you had a good gyro? I love gyros. One of the best gyros that we have is 35 minutes away, but sometimes I just get a hankering for that gyro. So I'm like, hey, Pops, drive me to go get a gyro 35 minutes away from the house. We'll pass 10 different gyro places to go get this gyro. And guess what he says? Absolutely, let's go do it. And they're so good and so worth it. It makes us happy to go. All right, back to the story. But please, I cannot wait to hear what you enjoy eating 200,000 million pieces of. Halloween was just a little bit ago. Did you get 200,000 million pieces of something? That would be so yummy. What would you get? What would I get of that? I don't know. A red squirrel who lived with his family in a nearby tree heard this remark. In one glide and 2 jumps and 3 hops, he reached the garden and came back with a bunch of delicious carrots. Oh, thank you, Red Squirrel, said the lively little rabbit, very pleased. I love carrots. You are a friend indeed. That was really nice of him, wasn't it? Red Squirrel was being a kind friend to Rabbit. He just heard him say that he was hungry. He didn't tell Red Squirrel to go get him something. He just heard that his friend wanted to eat something. Very kind indeed. He was definitely filling Little Rabbit's bucket. I love it. After the rabbit had eaten all of his carrots, he decided to spend the night with his new friend. Hold on now. You gotta tell Mom and Dad what you're doing. Parents need to know. At first, he thought it was a funny idea to sleep way up in a tree. But the red squirrel pushed and shoved until they were both settled, snug, and peaceful. High up on their... Let me try that again. But the red squirrel pushed and shoved him until they were both settled, snug, and peaceful, high up in the tree under the stars. Sometimes it's hard to sleep somewhere that you're not used to. When we stay at a hotel or if we're on vacation, my first night is usually hard because I'm just getting used to my environment and the new sounds, and it's a different experience, isn't it? At first you want to go and you believe it's going to be a good time, and it always is, but it's just that one little moment of hesitation, doubt, fear, insecurity, I don't know, but it passes. Something that you just need to talk about with those you love. And sometimes it could just be something simple as somebody pushing and shoving in the bed next to you. Have you ever had a sleepover and the person was a bed hog? I know somebody who's 5 years old and little takes up the whole bed when they spend the night. It's fun, but you might get an elbow to the head or a knee to the back or a foot to the spine. It's a chance I'm willing to take. The next day, the lively little rabbit tried to remember his way home, but he could not. So the red squirrel brought him to the wise old owl. Oh my goodness, he must have been so worried. He couldn't find his way home. That's kind of scary, isn't it? As soon as it was dark, the owl spread his wings in search of the rabbit's home. In no time at all, the owl had found it, and he swooped down to tell the news to all the brothers and sisters. What do you think he did? How was he able to find Little Rabbit's home? And why did he wait at night? Some things to think about, right? I can't wait for you to tell me. The little rabbits didn't have to wait long. Here they come, they cried all at once. And sure enough, there came the owl flying close to the ground to show the way to the lively little rabbit, who was hopping along just as fast as he could go. The red squirrel was hopping along too. He had come for a visit. Okay, so the little rabbit got lost, and luckily he found a very kind and good friend in Red Squirrel, who just heard Rabbit say, I'm so hungry, I wish I had 2,100 million big carrots. And just hearing Rabbit say he was hungry, he decided to give him food. And now they were friends. He helped take care of him. And he took him to the owl, and a wise old owl found his home by spreading his wings, probably flying around at night, getting an assessment of where he could live. And now Red Squirrel's going to stay with Rabbit for a day, maybe 2. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Let's find out. Just as he came for a visit. Hello, what's the news? Said the lively little rabbit. Oh dear, cried the little rabbits. The mean old weasel came again this morning and ate our great-grandmother on Daddy's side for breakfast. Should be eating no great-grandmas. I'm a grandma. So I'm not a great-grandma. I'm just a grandma. But don't be eating no grandmas, especially on Daddy's side for breakfast. My word. Oh, look at that face. Look at that face. What do you think he's thinking? This made the lively little rabbit very sad. Well, hold on now. Is that a sad face? I don't know about that. I don't know if it's a sad face. Something must be done, he said. What? Said the other little rabbits. I think I know. I think I know, said the wise squirrel. We must give that weasel a terrible, terrible scare. You gotta be careful about scaring. Sometimes scaring backfires and then you get scared. Of course, something had to be done. I mean, they ate great grandma, for goodness sakes. All right, here we go. And he told all the little rabbits his plan. It was a wonderful idea. They were going to build a make-believe dragon out of leaves and twigs. Dragon. Are dragons real? Were dragons real at one point? Why does everybody know about dragons? Even the rabbits know about dragons. Oh my goodness, what would I have? Let's have that talk. Let's have that talk. I'd go for unicorn. I'd go for Pegasus. Nope. I'd go for, dang it. I want unicorn. I'm going to go unicorn. I'm going to go unicorn, even though you can't ride it per se. Can you ride a unicorn? I feel like when you're that magical and mythical, you can't be ridden. Whereas a Pegasus, you can be ridden because we all saw Zeus riding him around. Hercules, we saw Hercules riding him around. So I know that that's possible. But I don't know if you're allowed to ride a unicorn. We'll find out. Here's the thing. I'm going unicorn. Darn it. Okay. Unicorn, Pegasus, one of those two. Oh, and then there's griffins and dragons. I don't know. Unicorn. I'm going to go unicorn. Unicorn, final. I have a feeling Pops would go dragon. No, he would go griffin. Now I got to ask him. I got to know. We'll find out. Okay. They would all crawl inside to make it go, and the lively little rabbit was to pretend to be the head. Early next morning, they set to work, and the wise squirrel fixed the lively little rabbit up to make him look very fierce indeed. Let me see your fiercest look. Or do you call? Let me see your fierce. Pretty good. Soon the dragon was ready. The squirrel and the rabbits looked at their work with pride. You're like, looking good. It was so very funny, especially when the owl, who was hidden inside with the rabbits, flapped his wings and shouted, "Ooh, what a wonderful dragon it was." Oh my goodness. It's a little intimidating, I do have to say. What do they have here? What did they use? Looks like they used a dried up old tree branch, maybe, with a leaf as a tongue. Brilliant. Love their costume design. Looks like they have branches poking out of leaves on the top. What do you think the black thing is? The black part. Is it like a log, do you think? Or just tree bark, maybe stuck together? The dragon's ears. That's fun. Great idea, rabbit. Looking good. It is a wonderful dragon. I'd have been intimidated, for sure. Running away scared. Not a dragon. Meanwhile, the mean old weasel was waking up for the day. Sleeping in, huh? Well, I guess if you're eating rabbits whenever you want, running around causing chaos, you can nap till whenever you want to. Or sleep till whenever you want to. Wake up when your body tells you to. He stretched and he yawned and he growled and he said to himself, "Let me hear you growl. Now what about breakfast?" But just as the mean old weasel came to the top of the hill, up popped the make-believe dragon. It flapped its wings and wiggled its tail and shouted in a very loud voice. The weasel was terribly frightened. Let me see your frightened face. I didn't mean to scare Benny. I think I scared Benny. Poor Benny. He was so scared that for a minute he couldn't even move at all. He turned around and ran. Have you ever been that scared? I probably have. I just don't remember. I don't like to do stuff that's scary, so I avoid it. He ran away so fast that he would still be running if he had not stumbled on a rock. But he did, and he rolled to the bottom of the hill. There he picked himself up and began to run away again. All day long. Way back in the woods, the lively little rabbit danced with his brothers and sisters and their friend, the wise red squirrel. Everyone was very happy. The sleepy owl asked to be excused and went to bed. He was sleepy because it was the middle of the day, right? And he's nocturnal. He's most active at night. Okay. Somebody may have gotten a hold of a pen. I get it. Sometimes you want to add your own words to a book. So, feels compelling to grab a pen and maybe jot some things down. I get it. The next day, oops, not the next day, the very next day, the mean old weasel, who was still full of bumps and bruises, moved far away from the woods. Never again has he ever tried to eat a lively little rabbit for breakfast. Poor guy. I wonder if he's eaten any of that carrot soup. They should have offered him some of that carrot soup that scrawny Tommy Lion loves so much. What'd you think of that story? The lively little rabbit. What'd you think of their dragon? That was a great idea, wasn't it? Which mythical creature would you want to have? I still am going to stick with unicorn or Pegasus. Unicorn. Sorry. Okay, I'm done. Unicorn. It's unicorn. It's Pegasus. So, that's all for today. Remember who you are, where you come from, and that you are loved wholly and unconditionally. That means all of you, no matter what. Take care, love.